Hey everybody, I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming, and turn 3 for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign is about to begin. This sci-fi solo adventure wargame was written by Ivan Sorensen and published by Modiphius Entertainment. Going forward in my campaign, I've decided to add one small house rule. Normally, characters start the turn with whatever equipment they had in the last battle, and they're not allowed to equip new items they found after that battle until the assign equipment step in the pre-game sequence. But for narrative purposes and to allow me to show my crew and their loadouts at the start of my videos without having to show major changes just a few minutes later, I'm going to allow equipping items between battles, and then during the assign equipment step, I'll just make modifications based on items gained or lost during the crew tasks section. Now, I'll recap my last battle, show the state of my crews, do the pre-game sequence, play the battle, and then follow up with the post-game wrap-up. Let's get to the bricks and blocks of turn 3 for my 5 Parsecs from Home campaign. After stealing the research data that Galactic Solutions was planning to weaponize, then fighting off some local vigilantes while hacking into the corporation's communication system to discover who they've been developing for, the crew that Rhett has suggested be known as Gibbs Renegades in honor of their fallen comrade knows they'll need to get off of Galdos 5 soon before it becomes too late to escape the thugs and bounty hunters that are now searching for them. However, they need to get the hyperdrive that Beldara provided the crew with properly installed on their shuttle Tess. There's some power cells the crew needs for this that they're hoping to find in an abandoned scrapyard. But some raiders have claimed stake to the junk heap and aren't taking kindly to anyone pilfering on their turf. Gibbs Renegades currently have 2 wealthy patrons, one with an outstanding job offer, 1 unknown rival, 15 credits, 5 story points, and 1 quest rumor. Captain Danik Krall is carrying his handgun and shotgun, but has swapped his colony rifle for the military rifle that Baffy fixed after the last battle, and is equipped with a screen generator. He has 3 experience points after upgrading his reaction stat to 3. Dr. O has his hand laser with the stun attachment, a dazzle grenade, and is going to try to figure out how to use the military rifle the crew found on the battlefield last game. He still has 3 experience points since he wasn't technically on the battlefield while hacking last game. Rhett Joran had another solid battle, allowing him to improve his reaction skill, leaving him with 3 experience points, and is carrying the auto rifle with the tracker sight and his scrap pistol. Beldara was knocked out of the last battle by an explosion and has just 1 experience point. She's carrying her rattle gun, which she modified with the cyber configurable nano sludge they found in the last battle, which gives the heavy weapon +1 to hit on all 3 of her attack rolls. And Baffy has loaned her his stealth gear to try out. As for Baffy, who is spending the pre-game sequence in the medical bay after becoming a casualty in the previous battle, he has his blast pistol and glare sword, and since he threw his frag grenade in the last battle, he grabbed their last spare one from the stash. And he's only earned 1 experience point this whole campaign. Lastly, Ugrak has no experience points, as he spent them all increasing his move stat. And he's still breaking game rules by carrying a colony rifle, shotgun, and brutal melee weapon, because I didn't realize until after filming this battle that a 3rd weapon has to be a pistol or blade. I thought any melee weapon was okay for that 3rd slot. This will be fixed in the next battle. And if you notice any other rules I get wrong, let me know in the comments below, as my desire when I play my games is to get the rules as accurate as possible. Since this is my 3rd campaign turn, at the start of every 3rd turn, I get to add 1 story point, so that puts me up to 6 story points. And now looking at the steps for the campaign turn, I don't have to flee because there's no invasion threat, and I'm not going to attempt to leave this planet because my ship is currently damaged, and that could make things very dangerous. So we'll skip up to upkeep and ship repairs. I need to pay 1 credit for my upkeep because I have a crew of 6, and that brings me down to 14 credits. And then for ship debt, that goes up 1 credit each turn, which will bring the total debt to 18 credits. I'm going to go ahead and pay off 5 credits of this, so I am getting a little closer to fully owning Tess, bring it down to 13 credits I still owe. And then for ship repairs, the ship currently has 5 points of damage. The crew automatically repairs 1 point of damage each turn, bringing it to 4. And then I'll go ahead and pump 3 credits into it, leaving it with just 1 point of hull damage, which will automatically be repaired at the start of next turn. Next, I could pay for medical care, 4 credits to remove 1 campaign turn from a character's recovery time. Baffy is in sickbay right now. However, at this point in the pregame sequence, each character in sickbay gets to remove 1 turn from their time there, which means Baffy would be done in sickbay. However, if he has just left sickbay, he is not allowed to perform a crew task this turn. And for my crew tasks, I'm going to start out with having Dr. O do some trading. Rolling on the trade table, 49. So he was able to trade something in to get some fuel. Roll a d6, and the next time I travel, I can deduct that many credits from the travel costs. And that will be 5 credits. And then I'm going to have Beldara also go trading. 14. And that is an instruction book. A member of your choice can read it to gain 1 experience point. She'll go ahead and give that to Baffy, even though he's technically out of sickbay. We'll say that she found a good book for him to read while he was recovering. Next, I'm going to have Ugrok go exploring. 63. Apparently, there's lots of trainers on this planet because Danik Krell rolled this the last 2 games, and now Ugrok is going to gain 2 experience points. And then Captain Danik Krell is also going to go exploring. 75. Well, I really wanted to do my patron mission that has +2 danger pay, but I will gain +3 credits if I do an opportunity mission this campaign turn, so I guess that's what we're doing instead. And lastly, Rhett Jorn is going to go train at the gun range to increase his experience points to 4, meaning that if he is able to survive this next battle, he'll have enough experience points to increase his combat skill. For determining job offers, I already decided I'm going to try for the opportunity mission, and no one is looking for patron jobs. So normally I would assign equipment next, but I already did that per my house rule. At the start of my last battle, I rolled to resolve my rumors and determined that my team is on a quest. And until that quest is complete, I will skip this step. And now we go to choosing my battle. I really want to do my opportunity mission to gain some bonus credits. However, I have to check first to see if my rival that I have finds me. So on a d6, I need to roll something above a 1 to make sure that the rival has not encountered me. And I get a 3, which is less than the current number of rivals I have, so I'm free to choose whichever mission I want to do. So I do have 1 outstanding patron job that rolled up to be available at any time. So I could take that, but I'll skip it this turn. I could continue on my quest. However, I've determined that I want to get some more rumors before I try to attempt my quest, because you need rumors to successfully complete the quest. So we'll hold off on my quest for now, and we'll go ahead and do that opportunity mission that's going to pay me 3 bonus credits. Next, I'm going to start getting ready for battle, following these 4 steps, starting with determining the deployment conditions. 1. For an opportunity mission, a 1 is no condition. And next I'll roll to see if there's any notable sites hidden on the battlefield. 67. And for an opportunity mission, a 67 is a really shiny bit. So if I find this item hidden on the battlefield, my team can gain 2 bonus credits. Now to determine the objective, a 9. Alright, that's simple, just a fight off. So to win, I just simply have to hold the battlefield. Now to determine my enemy, starting with their category, 28. For an opportunity mission, that is a criminal element, and I've fought one of these in my first battle, and at the end of the battle, there's a chance to gain some bonus credits, but there's also a greater chance that they become rivals. As far as what the criminal element is, 26. And that is raiders. They gain +1 to their numbers. They panic on a 1 or 2. They have a move of 4. They have a +1 combat skill, which is no good. They have only a toughness of 3, so they shouldn't be too hard to take down. They're aggressive. And they've got a bonus here that if I hold the battlefield, I get to roll twice for battlefield finds. For the number of opponents, they add +1. In my house rules, I bump all my 2s up to 3. So that's a 3 + 1. There's only going to be 4 raiders. Now to see if there's a unique individual, 2d6, it needs to be a 9 or higher. And that is a 9, so they're led by somebody. I'll roll up my unique individual in a moment, but first I need to determine if there's specialists and lieutenants. I'm encountering 4 raiders, so they do have a specialist and they will have a lieutenant. Let's find out their weaponry. For the regular soldiers, a 6. For category 2, that means they'll all have infantry lasers, which is a long-range weapon. And now for their specialist, a 2. And that's kind of funny. Their specialist is just carrying a shotgun. And now to determine who this unique individual is, 77. At first I thought I rolled up another Kieran warrior, but we've got a nomad scout. So this is a sniper with a movement range of 6, combat skill +1, toughness of 4, AI of defensive, and he's carrying a marksman rifle. And he always counts as concealed, which means he always gains cover bonus when fired upon. I'll get my table set up for this opportunity mission, deploy my team, and see what they can scavenge from this scrap heap. Taking a look at the board, my team is set up over here on the right side of the table, and the raiders are set up over on the left side. And being alerted to the presence of intruders, they've flown up on their speeders and other transports. And here we have their lieutenant, their specialist with a lowly shotgun, their 2 regular soldiers with infantry lasers, and then back here is the nomad scout with the marksman rifle. These guys are aggressive, so they'll mostly try to charge my team, while this marksman up there is going to try to find a spot to do some sniping. And hopping over to the other side of the board, Gibbs Renegades have landed Tess and have gotten out of their ship looking for the power cells they need. Ugrok the Kieran, Danik Krell, their captain, Dr. O and Beldara are all set up over here by this rock outcropping, and then Rhett is set up over here next to this ATST head. And I rolled up a notable sight of some really shiny bits being located 2d6 plus 2 inches from the center of the board, so 9 inches, and the direction is that way. So 9 inches from the center of the board is going to put it right about here. It's just not quite straight down, which is actually a really good spot considering where my crew is located. They can hopefully get to that quickly and gain 2 bonus credits. And even though my crew was able to upgrade some of their weapons and increase some of their stats after the last battle, their enemies all have longer ranged weapons and they all have +1 combat, so we'll see how my team does. To start out the battle, I'll attempt to seize the initiative. I've got +2 for my highest savvy and +1 for the scanner bot I have. I need a 10 total to get that, and I only get a total of 9. So I get no bonus actions at the start of the turn. Let's see how many of my crew members get to act in the quick phase. Reactions for my first turn, not good at all. Everyone's acting in the slow phase. Moving over to the enemy phase, this group over here, they've got infantry lasers, so it would make sense for them to find good sniping points. However, they've got aggressive AI, so I guess they really want to figure out who is in their turf and drive them off rather than stay back and hide. They've got a movement of 4, so they're all going to start kind of dashing. Shotgun guy in the front. Their lieutenant will kind of move up behind him. This one here will kind of run up here behind this rock. This one here is going to go around the other side. And their marksman over here can actually run up on top of this. He can move 6 inches, and from right there, he can actually see all the way from up here down here to Beldara. She is in cover, and she's wearing that stealth gear that she got from Baffy, which gives enemies a -1 to hit if they're more than 9 inches away. So that essentially negates the +1 combat score of that scout. So he needs a 6, and he misses. And to the slow phase, Beldara wants to fire back, but he's just barely out of range. His marksman rifle has a 36-inch range. She's only got 24 inches. She's going to run up here and fire all 3 of her rattle gun shots right at him. Her rattle gun is heavy, which gives it a -1 to hit when she moves, but she's equipped that nano sludge to it, which gives her a +1 to hit. So she needs a straight up 6 because those scouts count as always in cover. First shot, misses. Second shot, hits. He has a toughness of 4, and that gets him. So that nomadic scout thought he'd be able to come in and get an easy, quick kill, but instead his plan backfired, and he gets taken out of the battle early on. And for the rest of my crew, Ugrok can now move 7 inches on a dash, which will put him up here. Danik Krell can move 6 inches. He'll come right around here, kind of peek around this corner. And Dr. O, he can go 7 inches. He'll kind of go right in between these two. And then for Rhett Jorn around the back there, without having to fear that marksman that was coming up around their flank, he is just going to dash 6 inches right over here at the base of this staircase. And that actually turned out to be a pretty successful first turn, with Beldara landing the first kill of the battle against their unique individual. And now we'll roll some morale checks for the regular raiders. They panic on a 1 or a 2, and they're all sticking around. And reactions for the second round, we've got 2 1s to assign to anybody. So I'll assign one of those 1s to Beldara, and I'll have her do snap fire. So if anybody moves into her line of sight, she can shoot at them. And if that doesn't happen, then she can act in the slow phase. And then for Ugrok, who's hanging out right over here, he can move dash, I guess, into contact with these really shiny bits. And the way that works is if you just come into contact with it and forfeit any other actions you have, you can pick that up. So they've just acquired 2 bonus credits. And then moving to enemy actions, they're just going to move into a better position here. Starting with these guys over here. Their lieutenant is going to dash 6 inches over to here. Their shotgun wielding specialist is going to come right here, getting ready to come around the corner to attack my guys. And then this one is, he'll actually go ahead and climb up here, getting ready to take some over the head pot shots. And then their last soldier, who's hanging out around this other side of the building, he is going to move up. He's just going to run right over here and stay behind these stairs so that Beldara cannot see him. And then going back around to the front view, Rhett Jorn is going to climb these stairs, going just part way up them, where he can see over the top of those stairs right to this shotgun wielding specialist, and that is a clear shot from where he's standing. So that means he needs at least a 5 to hit. First shot misses, and the second shot that misses. He was not aiming. Since Beldara did not use her snapfire, she is going to run out here, which will kind of put her out in the open, but from right there she can fire her rattle gun up here at that raider who's in cover. She moved, but she's got the +1, so this is a straight up 6. First shot, misses, not aimed. Second shot, misses again. And third shot, not so lucky this round. Next, Dr. O is going to come over here and kind of poke his head around this corner. And from right there, he can see this raider who's hanging out up here with cover. He needs a 6 to hit, and he misses with his military rifle. Next, Danik Krell is going to run 6 inches around here, kind of out in the open, getting ready to maybe do a snap fire next round. And then Ugrok is just going to kind of poke his head around here, pull out his shotgun with its 8-inch range, and he will fire at this raider up here. The raider has cover, so Ugrok needs a 6, And another failure. So this round was less successful for my team than the first round, and now the enemy are closing in on my position. So we'll go ahead and roll up a battle event at the end of round 2. 33. So this probably won't have much effect on the game since everybody's getting into close range, but the visibility has changed, a fog has come in, and I have to reduce the range to 1d6 plus 6 inches. I guess if that marksman had still been on the board, then he would not be very effective for the rest of the game. And that goes down to 8 inches of visibility. And now we'll go ahead and roll up reaction rolls for the next round. A 2 can go to Rhett or Ugrok, and one of those 3s can go to Danik Krau. Well, I would like Rhett back here to fire his auto rifle at somebody, but he can't see anything now. So instead we'll have Danik Krau and Ugrok both do snap fire there in the middle, so that as soon as any of these raiders come around the corner, they can take shots at them. And going to the enemy phase, the enemies closest to my crew go first. So we'll have this shotgun wielding enemy come around here, and as soon as he pokes his head around, Ugrok will fire his shotgun. There's no cover on this shot, so he needs a 5, but he misses. So that means this specialist can continue his movement around here and enter a brawl with Ugrok. Something I'd almost forgot is that enemies with the aggressive AI automatically carry a blade unless their combat skill is 0. They have a combat skill of +1, so he's got a blade with him. So the weapon plus the combat skill gives the raider a +3 against Ugrok's +2 for carrying a melee weapon. He does get to roll 2 dice, being a Kieran, and pick which one he wants to keep. So unfortunately, Ugrok did not roll well, and the raider wins with a 6 against a 5. Ugrok has a toughness of 4. A blade has a +1 damage to it. And unfortunately, that beats Ugrok's toughness, and he goes down. So as Ugrok falls to the ground, for winning a brawl, the figure can move 2 inches. So he'll move right over here into some cover. And now their lieutenant is going to run around here at Danik Krau to enter a brawl, and Danik will open fire with his shotgun. Wide open, and Danik has a +1 combat. I think it still counts as aiming with snapfire because they don't move, so he'll get to re-roll that. And a 3 + 1 is only 4, so he still misses. And this guy runs into combat, which is really bad. The raider has a +2 combat and +2 for carrying a melee weapon, and Danik has a +1 combat and just a +1 for carrying his pistol, so +2 against +4 here. However, Danik ends up winning with a 7 to a 6. And he has no damage modifier with that pistol, so he needs to beat the toughness of 3, which he does. So after missing with his shotgun, Danik pulls out his pistol and just shoots this guy right as he comes up towards him. And then Danik can move 2 inches. He is going to move away from this bad guy back here into some cover. Next, this raider is going to kind of hop down off this platform over to here. And from there, he can just barely see Dr. O through the fog. However, that is a wide open shot with a +1 combat, needing a 5, but he only gets a 3. And lastly, their soldier that's back here behind this staircase can run 6 inches right up to this corner. Not really caring too much about cover because he can't see any of these guys through the fog. So Rhett will now hop down off these stairs and come around here. And from right there, he'll take a wide open shot at that raider. Needing a 5, he hits on the first one. Toughness of 3. Doesn't get past the toughness, that's 1 stun. And moves him back an inch. And then the second shot is still wide open. And he misses with that one. So he goes back 1 inch. We'll give him his stun marker. And then Dr. O is actually going to run out here 5 inches right behind this rock and pull out his hand laser and take a shot. Since he's within 6 inches, he gets the pistol bonus and he gets the snapfire bonus. And it's wide open, so he needs to roll a 5. +2 is a hit against a toughness of 3. It doesn't get past his toughness, but That hand laser has a shock attachment, which gives it the impact trait against targets within 8 inches. And what impact does is if the target is stunned, they gain a second stun marker. Since he already had 1 stun marker, that gives him 3, and he is taken down. And then to finish up their turn, Beldara is going to run right over here behind this junk and fire her rattle gun at that raider. And just double checking, she is just within 8 inches of him. It is a wide open shot, so she needs a 5 or higher, and she misses. But she has 2 more shots. What am I thinking? Second shot misses, and the third and final shot, that one hits. Against the toughness of 3, another one goes down. This guy goes down, leaving just 1 of the raiders left on the battlefield. 3 of them have gone down this turn. So we make 3 panic rolls, and on a 1 or 2, this last raider will leave. And he leaves twice. So this last raider took out the mighty Kieran warrior, but then all of a sudden, right next to him, he hears a shotgun blast and a pistol fire, and hears his lieutenant scream in pain. And then across the board, he hears some rifle fire, and then a loud laser blast, and another one of his teammates screams. And then a whole bunch of machine gun fire just whizzes past him, and his other teammate screams, and he decides with this fog, now might be a good time to just run for cover. So he will run off the board, and that ends the battle with me controlling the battlefield. Well, with the exception of Ugrok falling in combat, I'd say this was a pretty successful mission. We recovered the shiny bits, giving us +2 credits. At the start of the battle, we had a promising lead, which would give us +3 credits if we held the battlefield, which we did. And then with the raiders, if you hold the battlefield against them, they give you an additional roll on the battlefield finds table. So potentially a lot of neat stuff here. We'll have to see how Ugrok fares, however. For post-battle activities, we'll start with resolving rival status, and these are criminal elements, so they're a little unique. I've fought one of these groups before, and I roll 2d6, and if either result is a 1, they become a rival, and if both are 1s, then they'll hate me. And neither of those are 1s, so these are not rivals, luckily. And I'll go ahead and do this part right now as well. Roll a d6 for holding the battlefield, and on a 1 to 3, I gain that many credits. And wow, 3 more credits. Continuing with the steps, this was not a patron mission, so we skipped step 2. And although I am on a quest, this battle was not a quest battle, so I do not do anything for this step. However, we will go ahead and get paid. A 1d6, and a 1 or 2 becomes a 3, but that doesn't matter. I gain 4 credits. And like I stated a moment ago, I gain +3 credits for that opportunity mission because of the promising lead that Dennett Krell found before the battle. And 2 credits for those really shiny bits that Ugrok found before he fell in combat. And now for the 2 rolls on the battlefield finds table. The 2 rolls are 91 and 32. Well, the 32 gives me a curious data stick, which gives me a quest rumor, which is helpful for the quest that I'm trying to complete. If it had been an invasion threat, it would have been something different. That 91, however, gets me nothing of value. I'm tempted to use a story point because I'd love to get one of these infantry lasers or the marksman's rifle off of one of those fallen enemies. But I think I'm just going to save my story point since I found lots of other good stuff this battle. And since this enemy isn't an invasion threat, we'll go ahead and go to gather loot. Rolling once on this table, 87. I seem to roll up a lot of rewards when I roll for my loot. And this reward is a 69. Wow, more credits. Roll 2d6 and receive credits equal to the highest roll. There was some pretty cool stuff laying in this scrap heap, I guess. And that is, well, not as cool as I thought. 2 credits. Now to determine Ugrok's injuries. 47. Wow, a serious injury. No long-term effect, but 1d3 plus 1 turn in sickbay. It's tempting to use a story point there, but really this is on the better half of things that could happen. I really don't want him to lose any of his equipment or lose any permanent stats, so we'll just leave him in sickbay. 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, and 5 and 6 is 3. Okay, good. 1 plus 1, he'll be there for 2 turns. For experience points, that means that Ugrok gains just 1 for becoming a casualty. Everybody else gains plus 3 for surviving and winning. And then Beldara inflicted the first casualty, so she gets a bonus plus 1. And she also killed a unique individual, so she gains a total of 5 this battle. And then for using these experience points, I've got a lot of purchasing to do here. For Danik Krell, he's got 6 total experience points to use, so he'll use all of that to increase his toughness by 1. Dr. O also has 6 experience points. He's going to increase his savvy by plus 1, giving somebody on my team 3 total savvy. Rhett now has 7 experience points, so he will use all of that to increase his combat skill to plus 1. And then Beldara surprised me by gaining all that experience points, so she has enough to increase her toughness up to 5 now by using all of her experience points. And I think it'll probably be a while till I invest anything in my advanced training, but we'll go down here to purchase items. I'll go ahead and use 3 credits to make a purchase on the military weapons table. 66. Well, that is great. That is another auto rifle that my team has. And since that gives me another long-range weapon, I'm going to sell one of my extra colony rifles I have to gain 1 more credit, and then I'll go ahead and make a roll on the gear table. 27. Nice. I was really hoping to get some defensive stuff, and I just got myself some combat armor. And that just has a straight up saving throw of 5+. I'm not quite sure who will get that yet, but we'll find out before the next battle. Next I'll roll up a campaign event. 12. A chance meeting turns into a new ally. Roll up a new character and add them to the crew, or add +1 story point. You may decide after rolling up the new character. Alright, we got a character to roll up here. Starting with their species, 81. Well, I was really thinking I was going to take the story point, but that's a bot, which I don't have any of them in my crew yet. And bots have pretty decent starting stats with a reaction score of 2, +1 combat skill, toughness of 4, savvy of +2, and they do have some other special things about them. They can never be involved in character events. They can't have implants. They don't gain experience points. This one's kind of tough. Instead, you have to use credits to do their upgrades. They have a base armor saving throw of 6+, which is really helpful. They have a separate injury table, and they don't usually make any rolls on the character background tables and things, but I'm just going to go ahead and roll these just for flavor, so I won't gain any of the benefits or penalties with those, but just find out a little more about who this robot is. So it's background, 36, it's motivation, 27, and its class, 19. So it's from a lower megacity class. I'm not sure what that means. I guess maybe some big city, kind of the lower levels. For its motivation, it rolled escape. So apparently it wanted to get out of that situation there. And for its class, it rolled up a soldier. So I guess this is some sort of combat robot that was serving in some slum of some big city, and it decided it wanted to get out of that area for some reason. And I'll introduce him next battle after I've selected a figure for him. And since there's no galactic war to deal with right now, the last thing I need to do is to roll up a character event, and that bot cannot participate in this. 1 through 6, we've got Danik Krell, Dr. O, Baffy, Rhett, Beldara, and Ugrok. And that will be Baffy. And his character event is 72. I like this. Someone has sent you a gift. Roll on the loot table. Someone has given Baffy 1. Some kind of weapon. 7. A slug weapon. And 30. and that is a dueling pistol, which isn't really that great of a weapon. I'm kind of tempted to use a story point to try to get something better, but we'll just say, we'll keep it with that and say apparently somebody is maybe wanting to challenge Baffy to a duel, and that's why they sent it to him as a gift. This battle yielded some great results for my team. A bunch of credits, some new weapons and armor, a quest rumor, 4 of my characters upgraded their stats, and the team added a bot to their crew. Though Ugrok will be spending some time in the medical bay. To find out what happens in turn 4, be sure to subscribe and like or comment below. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thanks for watching and play well.